You are Locked On Clippers Postcast. Part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up? Hello and welcome to the Locked On Clippers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. I am Pete Fox, covering sports in LA dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. You can also listen wherever you find your podcasts on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed. Tonight's episode of the Clippers Postcast is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. We got a new graphics package tonight on the show. That is courtesy of the one and only Everest Spawn Seller, step-grandson, who is a big fan of the Locked On Sports Network. He's more of a baseball guy, was right along with us here through the Dodgers World Series on the Locked On Dodgers Postcast, but still occasionally jumps in to check out the Clippers, Chargers, and Trojans Postcast. So decided to draw me up a new little logo. Not bad for a kindergartner. He missed the C in Locked On, but other than that, he spelled it all on his own. I'm like, that's impressive for a kindergartner, isn't it? My wife's like, yeah, most kindergartners can barely write anything, much less spell it correctly. So thank you, Everest. Tonight, Clippers, a nice win, 104-93 over the team with the best defense in the league, the Orlando Magic, but not much of an offense there for the Orlando Magic. We'll talk tonight about why the Clippers still are turning over the ball. It's still a problem. It's not pretty. Ugly. They won this game in spite of themselves. They did a much better job tonight of sprinting through the tape. We'll get into that. Their ability to put their foot on the throat and finish off opponents has not been great. Tonight was a little better. Wasn't much of a fight after the 5-minute mark when the Magic threw in all their subs, bench players, kind of waving the white flag. And then we'll also get into the depth that we saw tonight with Norm Powel out with a hamstring issue. So that was good to see. I saw a lot of stuff that I liked tonight from guys that I have high hopes for. And tonight they kind of made me feel better about their performances and just a lot of energy, even though the numbers weren't huge for guys like Derek Jones and Kris Dunn. I thought they played really well. It was a night of the juniors. I thought both Derek Jones Jr. and Kevin Porter Jr. were very impactful. Although combined for just 18 points, Kevin Porter off the bench with 10, Derek Jones had 8 in 26 minutes. It definitely felt like more because they were big buckets when they scored them. Zubats had 17, going 8 of 11. James Harden somehow figured out a way to score 24 and lead the way, going 5 of 14. It's simple. He gets to the line. He's drawing fouls like he always does. Tonight it felt a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? The fouls seemed legitimate. It wasn't like Harden was flopping and drawing those fouls. It felt like he was fouled, and 3 times beyond the arc. So he went to the line for the 3 free throws 3 different times. So that was 9 points right there. He only missed 1 all night long. Amir Coffey started in Norm Powell's place, 6 of 10, 4 of 7 from beyond the arc for 18 points. A really nice night for him. Did a good job filling in for Norman. But the thing that I think we come away from in this game feeling probably the best about was the defense. So the offense was good, but the turnovers were still a big problem. So you're kind of like mixed emotions about how you feel about the offense. I thought, though, there were plenty of opportunities for them to look good. So plenty of times, I should say, where they looked really good, moving the ball, playing with energy, even starting the fourth quarter. I thought it was remarkable that there was no starters in there to start the fourth quarter. All of those guys were on the bench. I believe James Harden came in at some point, but it was like Batum, Mo Bamba, Terrence Mann, Jordan Miller, and Kevin Porter were on the floor for a good portion of the fourth quarter, in the early minutes of the fourth quarter, and they all looked good. Bamba hit a three. The defense was good, knocking balls away, active hands. Jim Jackson called the defense tonight pesky, which is a good way to describe it. They were just kind of up under your skirt and making life uncomfortable for the Orlando Magic. It had to be frustrating for them. A stat was thrown out tonight that I thought was pretty remarkable. Across the league, if you have held your opponent to under 100 points, that team is 53-6, and it holds true tonight. It holds true Monday night, a couple of nights ago, when the Clippers beat the Warriors, kept their opponent under 100 and won the game. So lots of good stuff tonight. I hate to harp on the negative. In a nice win, 6 in a row for the Clippers at Intuit Dome. They're playing well right now, and I think are learning a lot about who they are and what they can expect for some of these guys off of the bench, like Kevin Porter. I feel like it's a blessing that Norm Powel was out tonight. Don't hope that it's for very long, because obviously Norm Powel is a guy that is very, very needed as the leading scorer of this team. But when you give these other guys opportunities and they step into the light and earn some minutes and start to get more experience, like Jordan Miller has only ever played in the fourth quarter. So he got in late in the first, played 16 minutes, had 8 points, 3 of 7, 2 of 2 from the line, 3 rebounds, another really, really solid, encouraging performance from the youngster. So I hate to harp on the negative, but the turnover thing, if they can clean that up, this team really can take another step into being a contender in the West. They just have to clean it up. And I hate to be so hard on James Harden, but it's obvious a lot of the times, and he fortunately does a lot of this fumbling and falling in the first quarter. I don't know if he's just not warmed up yet. He's not into the game, but there were multiple times in the first quarter where he's trying to be fancy with the ball, and obviously he's capable of doing that, but he fumbled it away and the ball was stolen. Another time he tried to dribble drive in the lane, draw a foul, and he fell flat on his face. I'm like, no, what the heck was that? So the good news is when he does that, seemingly he comes right back and buries a three. So you just forget about the fumbles and falling down and all of that stuff. The turnovers, again, for James Harden specifically, not good at all. 5, 4 for Zubats, 5 for Kris Dunn. So when you've got 20 plus, 22 on the night, 13 of which came in the first quarter, or first half rather, that the Orlando Magic turned into 17 points. That's just something you can't overlook. You have to say, what is the problem? I don't know if it's just laziness or sloppiness or they lose their focus. It's right up there with them going on runs and then surrendering runs. Good news tonight in a 104-93 win is they only did that once. In the third quarter, they had a 15-2 run backed up by a 10-0 Magic run, which is acceptable. It was right at the end of the third quarter, and it involved 3 threes, bang, bang, bang. So it was real quick. But yeah, they looked like they were just kind of unraveling right at the end of the third quarter. Fortunately, they got it right back on track in the fourth, and by the 5-minute mark, the Magic had waved the white flag. The game was basically over, and lickety split, 87-75 at the end of 3 and 104-93 at the end of the game. The Clippers comfortably up at the half, 56-54. Is that right? 56-54. I guess so. Yeah, I thought they were up more. They seem to be playing a whole lot better in the first half, but pulled away in the second half and got up to a big lead there, hitting a bunch of threes. Coffey had a really nice night. We have to say he's the player of the game in spite of James Harden leading the way with 24. Coffey was the man. 4 threes for 18 points, 6 of 10. Harden was 5 of 14. So as far as a shooting percentage, Amir Coffey, way better. 4 rebounds, just 1 assist, and only 2 turnovers on a night where just about everybody had a handful of turnovers. Derek Jones, though, again, really nice night, playing with a lot of energy, making buckets, playing defense, 3 steals for him. And maybe that's the reason I feel like he was a bigger part of this game, because he was playing defense and offense, knocking balls away and so forth. So Clippers win it. They're now 9-7, 6-4 at home, 6 in a row on their home floor, 104-93, and 3 in a row on the season after beating the Utah Jazz, the Warriors, and the Magic tonight. I'm Pete Fox. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. After the break, we will come back and get into the bucket list and talk about Amir Coffey, who was just lighting it up. And we'll see if there's any sort of solution for these turnovers. Like, if you have any ideas, feel free to share in the comments, because I don't know what it is. I can't figure it out. It shouldn't be so bad, but it's awful. Second worst in the league. Terrible. I mean, it's surprising that they're winning in spite of just coughing up the ball the way they are. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. Tonight's episode brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. I'm a big fan of Prize Picks. I haven't played in a while. I was doing my reverse psychology selecting during the World Series, and consequently I was losing, but the Dodgers were winning, so it all worked out in the end. So I need to re-up. And one of the cool things about Prize Picks is your deposit's super easy and painless, and when you win, you can get paid out within 15 minutes on Venmo, which is awesome. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 to 6 players from 2 different teams and win 100 times, up to 100 times your money. Run your game all season long at Prize Picks. It's the best way to get action on sports in over 30 states, including California, Florida, and Georgia. Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury policy, so that your lineup stays in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks keeps your lineup active. And as I mentioned, they now offer Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. Thanks, Steph Curry. We'll get more than 4 3-pointers next week. Anthony Edwards for more than 27 points. Cook up some hot takes with your friends and win real money this basketball season when you and your crew run your game on Prize Picks. Go to the website. Locked On Sports NBA is the code that you will need. It's prizepicks.com, and you get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Prizepicks.com, or download the app. Use the code Locked On NBA. $50 instantly when you play your first $5 wager. Prize Picks, run your game. Clippers were running their game tonight for the most part. Felt pretty good. Lots of energy, moving the ball pretty well, playing defense, active hands, pesky, knocking balls away, getting turnovers. So, I guess that's one thing that we can feel good about. The Clippers gave up 22 turnovers tonight, but they also caused a bunch against a very, very mediocre offensive team. Their Orlando Magic is the second best defensive team in the league, #1 defense in the paint. But the Clippers seem to do okay dealing with both of those things tonight. The Magic had on the night just 14 turnovers, so pretty clean. You would have liked to have seen it closer to 18 or 19 to kind of offset the Clippers 22, but it didn't really matter as they were spreading it out really well. Again, James Harden leading the way, 5 of 14 for 24 points. Amir Coffey had 18. Zubats, 8 of 11 for 17 points. A much better job from Zubats tonight in the paint. Wasn't missing the chippies, had the runner going, and he was backing down his defender really nice. I don't know. Was I the only one that didn't know there were 2 Wagners Moritz and Franz. I know one of them used to be a Laker. I don't know how they both played at Michigan. I'm not a big Michigan basketball fan. I was aware of one because he was a Laker. I did not know there was two. I'm all, why do these guys look different? I just felt like such an idiot. I'm like, oh yeah, there's two of them. That's right. I feel like I've heard that. This guy Batadze, I thought Zubats did a really nice job of backing him down, getting really physical with him quite a few times. But the Lakers did a nice job defending him. He only finished with 9 on the night. Jalen Suggs had a pretty nice night, 5 of 11, 2 threes for 16 points. He had it going early, but the Clippers did a pretty good job of slowing him down. And Anthony Black, 29 minutes, 5 of 10, 2 threes for 17 points to lead them off of the bench. Played well for Orlando. Here's who played well for the Clippers as we look at the bucket list. For number 5, Amir Coffey had a really nice steal. This was at the 6:05 mark of the first, and he found Derek Jones, who just hammered a dunk down in an alley-oop. It was beautiful. Such nice timing. It made it 14-9 Clippers. For number 4, Amir Coffey had back-to-back threes, part of 3 in the quarter. It was at the first one came at the 3:50 mark, then at the 3:14 mark. It was 18-13, then 21-16 after those back-to-back threes for Amir Coffey in the first quarter. For number 3, Amir Coffey again, a 3 at the 3:45 mark of the second. That was his 4th in a row. It gave the Clippers a 5-point advantage, 47-42. For number 2, Derek Jones had a 3 at the 6:35 mark of the third. 73-64 was the lead at that point, and that then was the biggest lead of the night for the Clippers. They continued to build on it, got it up to as many as 19. As I mentioned, the Magic kind of went on a little run there, a 10-0 run after a 15-2 run from the Clippers in the third. So they got it back a little bit more manageable, but the Clippers ultimately won the third quarter 30-21. For number 1 on the bucket list, Kevin Porter Jr., nice layup, splitting the defenders in front of him in the lane, and it was just a nice, aggressive, acrobatic play with 2 defenders in his face. It was at the 4-minute mark of the third, and it made it 80-66. As I said, I really liked what I saw from him. And so Kevin Porter Jr. and Derek Jones Jr. really kind of stepped up and are becoming more impactful to this team when they're on the floor. 26 minutes for Derek Jones Jr., who started, and Kevin Porter Jr. played 20 minutes, but those were just meaningful minutes. 3 rebounds, 2 steals for Kevin Porter, as well as Jordan Miller, who got more minutes earlier in the game than we have normally seen from him. So the fact that Norm Powel was out tonight and the Clippers took care of business relatively easily in spite of 22 turnovers is got to be a good feeling for them, a confidence building win. I don't know if you look at it and go, well, we got away with one there, because if you want to say, let's say we break it down into 4 different categories: offense, rebounds, turnovers, and defense, just kind of in general, slowing down the opponent's offense. I feel like the Clippers did very well in 3 of those 4 categories. So you look at this and say, how good could things be if they would just not turn the ball over so much? A lot better. The good news is that they did a lot of other things very well, and they're playing with a lot of energy. They're gelling as a unit. We have heard some news. There was I don't know if it was a tweet or what, but something recently I saw on my phone, on my news feed, that Kawhi Leonard is shooting. Now, does that mean he's going to be back soon? Probably not. But the fact that he is actually playing basketball with the team on some level is positive. Is it next week? Probably not. I'm hoping that we get him on the floor by the first of the year. I mean, is that too encouraging? I don't know. But if he's shooting now, it could be middle of December. It's not this week. It's probably not next week, being Thanksgiving. And then you've got the NBA Cup time off there. There's like a 10-day span. If you don't make it to the bracketed round, the single elimination round of the NBA Cup, you're off for 10 days. Who knows if the Clippers will? They're last in their group right now, and their point differential, since they got smoked by the Houston Rockets, is -21. So they play, the next game out is Friday against Sacramento. That is an NBA Cup game, so they can, get back into it. Obviously, Sacramento is no pushover, so it's going to be tough. It is a home game, I believe. So, I'll be honest. I don't have high hopes for the Clippers to be playing in that NBA Cup elimination round. So yeah, it's a home game on Friday against the Kings. So they've been playing well into it. So that's a good factor. Maybe they can get back into it and make it interesting. But if they are not in that elimination round of the NBA Cup, they won't be playing at all. So there'll be absolutely no reason to have Kawhi Leonard back on the floor. So I'm thinking they'll probably be after that, which is like, I believe it was like the 8th to the 18th or the 8th to the 19th or something like that. So probably around Christmas. And at that point, you just say, let's just roll it to the first of the year. So that's my estimation. Kawhi Leonard will be back in a jersey on the floor by the first of the year. Put a jersey on. Put a jersey on. Put a jersey on. What's that football player's name that had that famous quote? Put a jersey on. Screaming at the announcer. Oh, man. We said that for years. It just popped into my head out of nowhere. Tampa Bay Bucks. What was his name? Put a jersey on. He's yelling at somebody. Put a jersey on. Put a jersey on. Come on. You guys have to remember that. Infamous. Put a jersey on. Warren Sapp. That's right. Has nothing to do with what we're talking about here at all. I understand that, but it just popped into my head. Hopefully we can get Kawhi Leonard back in a jersey, and Warren Sapp popped into my head screaming at the announcer, put a jersey on, put a jersey on. All right. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast. A nice win tonight, 6 in a row on their home floor after losing their first 4. So that's a nice way to bounce back there at Intuit Dome. 104-93 the final. They're now 9-7, just like the Orlando Magic. So if you think this was, it looked like an easy, comfortable win over a bad team, they're not bad. They're just not good on the road. They're a pretty decent team, young team, but dealing with a lot of injuries. They're 9-7 now as well. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Clippers postcast also brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win that first bet. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. Live bets means a lot of places you can't do this. Like, you can't do it on other apps that we've talked about here. Make a wager right in the middle of the game, kind of based on what the action is that you're seeing and the trend of this game, the feeling that you have about the way things are going right in the middle of the game. I find that to be extremely exciting if you kind of have a hunch, right? So you can do that on FanDuel. So when you get a hunch right in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats and see if it backs up your hunch, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. It's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So the Clippers win it tonight, 104-93 over the Orlando Magic. In spite of an ugly night in the turnover department, they caused 14 turnovers but gave up 22. They had a nice job with the steals. I think ultimately they won that battle. Nope, lost it by 1. The Magic had 11 steals and the Clippers had 10, but they played really nice defense with a lot of energy, getting in passing lanes, the active hands, knocking balls away, just kind of getting up on guys. And there wasn't a ton of block shots. What did we have in total for the Clippers on block shots? Yeah, 1. So 7 for the Orlando Magic. Again, the Orlando Magic, the second best defensive team in the league. It was kind of like the Seattle Mariners, who had great pitching this year, but their offense was terrible. That's the Orlando Magic. Great defense. Number 1 defense in the paint, and number 2 defense overall. When you look at the West versus the East, obviously right now it's heavily weighted towards the West. When the West plays the East so far this season, they are 37-18. So that's a big part of it. Right now, the West is just playing better. They have better players, better teams. Everything about what's going on in the West is better, except the best team in the league, the Cleveland Cavaliers, is in the East. And a lot of people think that they're not even the best team. It's the Boston Celtics who are the best team in the league. But as far as when the West and East are matching up this season, the West is dominating, and that held true tonight for the Clippers in a 104-93 win. Tristan da Silva hit 1-3, 4 of 6 on the night for the Magic with 10 points. As I said, Franz Wagner, the composer, 14 points. Jalen Suggs led the Orlando Magic with 16. KCP, Kentavious Caldwell Pope had a very, very off night. 1 of 6 in 30 minutes. 0 for 4 from beyond the arc, scoring just 2 points. Franz's brother, Moritz, was 4 of 10, 1 of 3 from beyond the arc, 10 points. Jonathan Isaac, 6 points, and Anthony Black leading the way for the Magic with 17 off of the bench. As I mentioned, Harden 24 for the Clippers in spite of going 5 of 14. Coffey 6 of 10, 4 threes, 18 points, and Zubats had 17 with a plus minus for all of those guys except Amir Coffey. His plus minus was 0, but Kris Dunn was plus 12, Harden plus 18, Zubats plus 10, and Derek Jones Jr. plus 10. That's not something you see all that often, but Batum also in plus numbers, plus 4. He had 5 points on the night in 19 minutes, 4 rebounds. Kai Jones played just 3 minutes, but Mo Bamba 15 minutes, had a big 3 in the fourth quarter, which is nice to see. As I mentioned, really like having this Mo Bamba guy on the team because he can play defense and shoot the 3, which is not something you see all that often from a big man. Definitely not from our big man, Ivica Zubats. By the way, kudos to Jim Jackson for figuring out how to say Ivica Zubats' name. I don't know if somebody said something to him, but he's now saying it correctly, which is nice because it was annoying the crap out of me when he wasn't saying it right. Bamba finished with 7. Terrence Mann, no points. That's rare. 15 minutes, 0 for 2, 0 for 1 from beyond the arc, at a -9 ratio, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, and 1 assist. As I said, I really liked what I saw from Kevin Porter tonight. Played with a lot of heart, a lot of energy, very physical. 20 minutes, 5 of 10, no threes, but he finished with 10 points. What was the funny thing? Brian Seaman, as I've mentioned, is very, very clever, sometimes too clever. His coffee puns are annoying, really, for the most part. They are clever, but I think he uses them a little too frequently. But he's dialed it back. I'll give him credit for that. Tonight was so spot on. When Zubats had the Kareem skyhook, he called him Zoo Alcindor, and he kind of did it as a throwaway. I was like, laugh out loud. That was an LOL for me. I scoffed. I was like, Zoo Alcindor. That's huge. And I don't think a lot of people heard it, but it was fantastic. So way to go, Brian Seaman, with Zoo Alcindor. That was a nice one. So all in all, a nice win for the Clippers. Off today, back at it again on Friday as they take on the Sacramento Kings at home. It'll be the NBA Cup on the goofy looking floor. Supposedly the Clippers NBA Cup floor is not as obnoxious as some of the other ones like Houston, the Lakers one is just, it's purple, I think. So loud. I mean, it's just distracting and annoying, and I'm not a fan. So we've heard that the Clippers one is not as bad. Let's hope that that's true. We'll wait and see on Friday. Again, 104-93, the final tonight over the Orlando Magic. Clippers now 9-7, extending their winning streak to 3 in a row and 6 in a row on their home floor. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. Don't forget, you can download your podcast wherever you find your podcasts on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed. We appreciate you allowing us to be your source for your team every day. Have a good night. We'll talk again on